The sun beat down mercilessly on the village of Ebilo. The once fertile fields were now barren, and the rivers had dried up. The elders gathered under the shade of a giant baobab tree, their faces etched with worry. "The sun is burning too hot," an elder said. "We must find a way to appease it." Adesuwa, who had been listening intently, stood up. "I will go to the sun and speak to it," she declared. The elders were shocked. No one had ever dared to challenge the sun before. But Adesuwa was determined. She believed that the sun had forgotten its place and was causing harm to the village. Adesuwa prepared herself for her journey. She gathered herbs and roots that would protect her from the sun's heat and painted her body with sacred symbols. Then, with a heavy heart, she embarked on the journey to the sun god. Her journey was long and arduous. She crossed vast deserts, climbed towering mountains, and braved treacherous forests. The sun beat down on her with unrelenting force, testing her limits. But Adesuwa persevered, driven by her determination to save her village. Finally, she reached the edge of the sun's domain. Before her was a vast, fiery expanse, shimmering with intense heat. The air was so hot that it felt like a furnace. Amoka took a deep breath and stepped forward. As Adesuwa stepped into the domain of the sun, she was greeted by a blinding light. After her eyes adjusted, she saw a colossal figure standing before her. It was the sun god, a being of pure energy and power. His eyes, like two burning suns, seemed to pierce through her. "Mortal," the sun god boomed, his voice like thunder. "What brings you to my domain?" Adesuwa knelt before him, her heart pounding. "Great sun god," she said, "I have come to ask for your mercy. Your heat is too intense, and it is harming my village." The sun god laughed. I am the giver of life. Without me, your village would perish." Adesuwa stood up, her voice filled with defiance. "You have forgotten your place, sun god. You are meant to provide warmth and light, not to destroy." The sun god was enraged, but she refused to give up. Adesuwa gathered her strength and faced the sun god once more. "I challenge you, sun god," she said. "If I can endure your heat for a day and a night, you must promise to moderate your intensity." The sun god laughed. "A mortal challenging a god? You are foolish." But Adesuwa was determined. She knew that her village's survival depended on her success. The sun god agreed to the challenge, but he warned her that the heat would be unbearable. Adesuwa sat in the center of the sun's domain, her body exposed to the intense heat. The air shimmered and distorted, and the ground beneath her feet seemed to melt. She felt as if her skin were on fire, and her mind began to waver. But Adesuwa remembered her village, and she pushed through the pain. As the day wore on, Adesuwa's strength began to fade. The sun's rays felt like burning needles, piercing her skin. Her vision blurred and her mind raced with terrifying thoughts. She was tempted to give up, to collapse and let the heat consume her. But Adesuwa remembered her promise to her village. She thought of the hungry children, the weak elders, and the animals that were dying. She would not let them down. The sun god was impressed. He had never seen a mortal endure such pain and suffering, but he was also determined to break Adesuwa's spirit. He increased the intensity of his heat, making it almost unbearable. With a final surge of strength, Adesuwa stood tall. She looked up at the sun and defied it. "I will not yield," she shouted. As the sun began to set, Adesuwa realized that she had survived. She had endured the sun's heat and emerged victorious. The sun god watched Adesuwa with a mixture of admiration and respect. He had never seen a mortal display such courage and resilience. He knew that he had underestimated her. "You have proven yourself worthy," the sun god said. "I will moderate my intensity from now on." Adesuwa was overjoyed. She had saved her village. She thanked the sun god and returned to the edge of his domain. As she looked back at the fiery expanse, she felt a sense of peace and gratitude. The sun god watched Adesuwa as she disappeared into the distance. He realized that he had learned a valuable lesson from her. He had forgotten that even the smallest creatures could have a profound impact on the world. From that day forward, the sun's heat was more moderate, and the village of Ebilo flourished. Adesuwa became a legend, remembered for her bravery and her unwavering spirit. And the sun god, humbled by her courage, learned to respect all living things. Adesuwa returned to her village to a hero's welcome. The people of Ebilo had been anxiously awaiting her return, fearing that she might not survive her encounter with the sun god. When they saw her emerge from the forest, healthy and unharmed, they erupted into cheers and applause. Adesuwa was carried on the shoulders of the villagers, her heart filled with joy. She recounted her journey, her confrontation with the sun god, and her victory. The villagers listened in awe, their eyes wide with wonder. From that day forward, Adesuwa was revered as a protector of the village. She was consulted on all matters, and her wisdom was sought by people from far and wide. And the village of Ebilo prospered, thanks to Adesuwa's courage and the sun god's moderation. After Adesuwa's return, the villagers experienced joy and celebration. They had once feared the sun's wrath, but now they basked in its gentle glow. The crops flourished, the livestock thrived, and the people were filled with a renewed sense of hope. The sun god, true to his word, had moderated his intensity. The sun now shone with a warm, golden light, nourishing the land without scorching it. The villagers thanked Adesuwa for her bravery and offered sacrifices to the sun god in gratitude. However, Adesuwa remained humble. She knew that her victory was not hers alone. It was a victory for her village, for the land, and for all those who had suffered under the sun's tyranny. And so, she continued to live her life in peace, a symbol of hope and resilience for generations to come.